My guest this week was Kyle Bentley. I connected with Kyle on LinkedIn back in 2019 and saw him growing his business, Bentley Welding Inc., through the years. And then more recently saw him a new set of businesses arise. Coyote Tanks, Blue Northern Constructors, and Saros Industrial, and Bentley Welding becoming Bentley Mission Critical. I thought he might have a problem, and so I reached out to see if he wanted to join me in studio for a conversation on the local experience. In studio, I found out he's also the VP of the District 6 School Board in Weld County, president of the board of directors at the Greeley Family House, and on the foundation board for UV Tech in his native Vernal, Utah. In recent years, Kyle's business has shifted from primarily oil and gas now into tech, building modular data center units in shipping containers. This one's a wild ride with a fascinating Northern Colorado employer, so please join me in enjoying my conversation with Kyle Bentley. Welcome back to the Loco Experience Podcast. My guest today is Kyle Bentley, and he is president or CEO or whatever he chooses to call himself at Bentley Welding Inc., Coyote Tanks, Blue Northern Constructors, and Saros Industrial. And I squeezed him for what else do you do to keep you busy? And he's the vice president of the District 6 School Board, the president of the board of the Greeley Family House, as well as on the foundation board for UB Tech in his hometown of Vernal.
Correct.
Any hobbies?
Yeah, that's it's not much time left in the day. Sometimes I like to sleep.
He's a scratch golfer.
Yeah. I wish. Yeah.
Bring that mic just a little closer if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So tell me, I guess Bentley Welding was, I noticed you on LinkedIn talking about different projects and stuff years ago and was like, this guy seems pretty sassy.
Yeah.
So I've been watching since then. Can we talk about what that started as and what it is today?
Yeah, it was kind of an accident, to be honest. I didn't really ever have like business aspirations. So my dad isn't a businessman.
Okay.
I worked for a local company there that I grew up with.
That did welding or something?
Yeah, the oil field construction,
Sure,
and they had welders that were employed by him. That's what I ended up being, is coming as a welder. And I come over here in 2013 just for an opportunity to make more money. The
oil fields were pretty hot at that time. Yeah,
they were moving their budget over to here, and so I came over and just kind of unbeknownst to me, the owner that I worked for in this big kind of family company was exiting since he had a divorce with the other owner's daughter, and so I got stuck over here. And one day they came to me and they said, "Hey, I was running operations now. I'd kind of moved up from welding, and they wanted to basically bring me in house instead of subcontracting at a third of what I was making." And I was like, I can't afford that. That's right. It's not so much will I or won't I? It's I can't.
Right.
So
I got a big truck with a pavement on it.
Yeah. So we parted ways, and I was kind of in panic mode and made a couple phone calls and was promised a project and kicked off. And
talk to me about what a project is.
Yeah. So we were doing all sorts of different things.
And you had a welder with a truck, I guess.
Yeah,
already,
that's what I had. Yeah, and then so I was going to be like a shop fabrication project. They were. It was a piping, basically a header of sorts, and I just prefabricated it, assembled it, pressure tested it, and then painted and shipped it to the field. So, that it was probably $1.5 million project per year.
Okay.
It's pretty good, just for me and a couple guys, and so I kind of got kicked off on that. Another little project come through from another.
Like your take was $1 million project?
No, it was gross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was just kind of
your part was. Whatever.
Yeah, percentage, depending on performance, but, yeah, right. So I got like the job that I was promised to start Bentley Welding with was $1.5 million roughly a year. So.
Of regular work.
Of regular work. Right?
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of like my
That's
foundation.
Enough to hire a couple people kind of thing and stuff.
Get me going and stuff. And then it grew, and, from that day when I made that call, got promised that project, to when I actually kicked off was about 2 weeks. And in that time frame, my friends who worked for me over at the other company, they came over and they're like, "Hey, we want to come with you." And I was like,
yeah,
flattering, but I only have enough for two laborers. I'm not even and these were like,
and it's not going to pay as much as your existing job.
And so they unbeknownst to me went to the customer and said, "Hey, it's not working." Kyle was like the magic card. We're either going to go home or we want to go to work with Kyle. And it was so busy back then that the customer literally said, "We don't care what name's on the invoice. We just need you guys here doing the work so we can get our project done on time."
Oh, wild.
And so day one, I started with 19 employees, and I took
Over an existing contract.
Some of the work, not all of it. We had about 85 over there, but about 20 of them made this jump with a 26-year-old kid that they didn't know. But that first day, you might have seen this on LinkedIn. I've kind of posted some of these stories the other day, but that first day, 19 guys staring at me, and I'm 26. A lot of them are older than me.
Sure.
And I had $3,000 in the bank account, and I didn't know how I was going to pay them. I had roughly 20 days to till their next paychecks were due. Yeah. And it was everything I could do to just keep from crying.
Well,
I was like, scared out of my mind.
I'm thinking about everything from finding a bookkeeper to having some level of HR and stuff, or a lot of handshakes.
None of that. I had an accounting firm helping me do payroll, and
that's good.
It was just me and a really rudimentary, crappy set of QuickBooks. Online I started it up. And, I didn't even know how to set up a chart of accounts or any of that stuff, an item list.
And this is 2013?
2014. June 9th of 14 is when we kicked off that first day. So
I actually, you're coming up on Local Think Tank just turned 12. We started in February of 2019 or 2014.
Yeah, yep. So 12 years this summer for us too. So we luckily I literally, I'd heard rumors of people factoring invoices. I had no idea what it really meant. I just knew it was fast, right? So after we're going, after 20%, I typed in, I Googled invoice factoring, and I clicked the first one that come up, and it just happened to get hooked up with this sweetheart. Her name's Dinah Carter from Sterling Commercial Credit, and they're out of Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
And we get through it, and she's like, "Yeah, we'll get you fixed up." And then we hit a bunch of hiccups, and just the way that they wanted to get things approved didn't jive with the customer's approval process. And she ended up getting a whole bunch, their credit company, or not company, but committee, got them comfortable with the way that the invoicing worked. And I got my first wire Thursday night before payroll was due on Friday morning.
Oh, damn.
And I had to write I hand wrote $70,000 in between subcontractors and employees at payroll checks the next morning, and just been cruising ever since.
Did you get out of the factoring before too long?
2017, yeah. So it's expensive. It was a percent per 15 days. So they'd front me 85%, hold the 15 back. When they got paid, depending on how long it was, they'd pull their fee out of that. But it's a percent per 15 days. Annualized, it'd be like 36%. Sure. It's crazy, but.
So you started with just a tiny bit of capital.
Like under $50,000 probably. I borrowed 15 from one guy, 15 from my father-in-law, and then I put my last 2 or 3 paychecks from that old company into it, and then credit cards and auto loans.
Right,
and
whatever access to credit you could find.
Yeah. One time we were actually, because those 2 guys that came over, I wasn't planning on, I hadn't budgeted for that or anything, right?
Right, they don't have a vehicle.
I had to go get them vehicles and tools, and we're sitting there, I'm literally in Lowe's getting end wrenches and hammers and stuff. And I did the math in my head, and I was like, shoot, I'm going to have to put something back. I don't have enough money for all these tools. And my wife, my ex-wife now, but she pulls out this, she's like, well, I didn't want to tell you, but I have an Old Navy credit card I got 10% off 2 years ago. She's like, I think it's got $2,000 on it. And I was like, perfect. And so I'm buying tools with an Old Navy credit card that she just signed up for to get a discount.
Like, sweetie.
Yeah.
So she was along for the ride too. Had you been married?
Yeah.
Or were you married at that time already?
Yeah. We got married in 2006, so we'd been together, 8 years. Right? And I'd kind of proven to her that I wasn't gonna, bankrupt the. She trusted me that way. She was good about that sort of stuff.
That's
so
cool.
Not a lot of fighting that way. As long as we'd sit down and, hey, this is with the math. This is what I'm thinking. And she, I proved myself right enough times that she trusted me that way.
And in the lead up to this, you had never put on entrepreneurial podcasts when you were driving down the road or anything like that? Nothing,
I don't even know if podcasts were big in 2012.
I guess they probably weren't.
13,
not got yet. 16, 18 is when I learned about it.
Yeah, so
nothing like that. Didn't read business books. You said you didn't come from an entrepreneurial family.
No.
Did you fall in love right away? You were like, dang, this is cool.
I like the math side of it. So math's always been big.
Okay.
I like doing the estimating and counting the dollars and cents, and then at the end of it, figuring out where we're at and stuff. So that stuff always interested me, but more or less, I just like the the opportunities and the excitement and the freedoms it kind of offers you. It's kind of a weird, like, you hear kids that talk about being an entrepreneur and make my own schedule. You kind of make your own schedule. You get to pick where you're taking 20 phone calls from. And you end up going from one boss, your manager, to 20 customers who are your boss, ready to fire you any second. So, but that side of the world, just there's never a dull moment. There's always something going on, and I get bored pretty easy.
We can go back in the time machine a little bit later, but I want to hear about like the next one, Coyote Tanks. Is that in chronological?
Yeah. So that was last year was all those. So there's a big.
Oh, just Bentley welding for quite a while.
Yeah, until last year. Yeah, and then that popped up, and it was just kind of divine intervention. Also, I got a few moments in my life that were definitely, I don't know if you're spiritual or not, but I am. So like, there's definitely a couple of spots I can.
When you see Providence a few times, showing
right,
its head, it's easier to spit later.
So that one was one of those where I was kind of lost after the post-divorce now. My kids are getting older, kind of not, I'm in a kind of weird stage of life. I'm 30, I turned 40 this year, and I'm almost done. My kids are almost grown. My youngest is 16.
Who needs me like that anymore right now?
So I'm like almost an empty nester at 39, 40 years old, and don't know really which way to go. And I never sold my house when I moved from Utah. I kept it in Vernal.
Okay.
And so I'm just kind of like, trying to sell it, won't sell. It's got a lot of equity. It's driving me crazy because I'm thinking of all the things I could do business wise with it. And so I literally prayed for 6 months, probably this is 24. And then fall of 24, this opportunity falls in my lap, and this guy just wants to retire. And he's like salt of the earth. We sat down in his office, hashed out, what about this? The money number's here.
Oh, so you didn't start Coyote Tanks, you bought it from
Bought it, yeah.
And what does it do?
They build oil field production tanks. So like you go to like the tank batteries, they build the tanks that hold the oil on location.
Sure. Was that here too, or
it's in Vernal?
It is.
Yep. So now I go back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, when I don't have my boys,
so you keep your house out there.
Kept my house. It all works out.
That's how God answered that prayer as well. I'll give you a reason to go back and forth.
So
I'm going to tell a quick story while I'm here. In that and he wouldn't mind me sharing, but Brandon Avery was an early local think tank member, and then a facilitator, still a friend of the organization, and he's from Buena Vista. And he sold his insurance agencies, except for like one in Buena Vista and one down in South Park or whatever, somewhere down there.
Yeah.
And now those agencies have grown, and he's able to give $10,000 or some $1,000 a year to the school and to the marching band and all these things. And he's like refound his love of business in some ways by being able to be generous in his hometown.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of searches for purpose, and
For sure.
It's kind of our motivating factor. And early on, it was always my kids and my wife, my family. That was
providing for them.
They're okay. They're gonna, my oldest is working for me now. He's gonna be all right. He's smart. And the youngest, same way. My ex-wife's taken care of. She's re-engaged and well on her way to having a good life. And for me, I could go live in a 1-bedroom cabin on the mountain and be just as happy as I am in a big house. The big house isn't really for me. So you kind of have to like go through that soul searching process again as you at least for me as I got older.
Now?
What am I doing now? And I came to the realization, or I settled on the fact that I really think God blesses people, certain people, with different abilities or blessings or whatever you want to call it. But I feel responsible for the financial blessings He's given me to go impact as many lives as I can. So, that's a big part for us.
Many of them by a lot of paychecks by
Paychecks, you think about, I think roughly 150 guys across organizations, times by 4, you're touching 600 people.
Right.
Not counting your vendors or the charities or, indirectly all the other stuff that you're supporting. So, it's a big deal. It's trying to, I don't know, I think if He broke it down, we're here to try to make the world a better place. I think that's kind of stand at the pearly gates. I think that's going to be the gist of it. Like, did you improve, or did you?
We're a drag on the show. Yeah,
So,
I think there's some merit in that in that notion, and that combination that you're talking about of kind of having an eye for money and finance and stuff. And I'm guessing you've become subsequently an expert on like balance sheet management, even in cash flow and different things, and then also having the leadership skills that group of 19 people see this 26-year-old guy that's winging it and doesn't know quite how he's going to make payroll,
Exactly.
but still wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty special.
Pretty wild for sure. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of it's humbling, and it's it's been wild.
Good job stepping into it.
Yeah.
Frankly, Blue Northern Constructors.
Yeah. So that boss I told you about that was divorced, and he ended up becoming like a second dad, and we kept in contact. He had a non-compete, so when he sold his shares, he had to like step out of the oil for 2 years. That's kind of why he backed out, and then why I went on my own. So he stayed in Utah, started another company, and then when the Coyote tank deal come up, he'd been wanting to retire, and so he'd been asking me to buy it from him, and so I kind of just paired them both. So those two companies do the same services that Bentley Welding does over here. They have like mobile roustabout crews and oil field construction, and then a big fabrication shop. So those two companies together mirror Bentley Welding.
Oh, I gotcha.
Right. And
what
so
Bentley Welding has become.
Exactly. So I got the same services both places, just two different geographical locations, different oil basins.
Sure.
400 miles
Well,
apart.
it costs a lot of money to ship a big set of equipment that far, I reckon.
And there's just a lot of like just on the ground, boots on the ground labor that you need to do and stuff.
Right.
So anyway, like when the Coyote deal was pretty solid. It hadn't happened yet. It was happening. We just were waiting on lawyers basically. I got with him and I was like, hey, I'll do this deal with you. Let's work it out. So December of 24, I started going over every other week and helping get oriented with his stuff. And then January 2nd, I took it over officially. We had a handshake in place, and then tragically February 4th, he had a brain aneurysm and passed away at like 63. He got to retire for a month.
Oh, damn.
And so then
But at least it didn't leave his company in chaos.
Well, we just
Probably
had a handshake.
Oh, shit.
So everything automatically went back into his trust. We had to restart negotiations and kind of get back to it. But it all worked out. The family knew what he wanted and knew where we were headed, and they knew enough of the deal that we got it done. It cost structure was a little different. I had to give a bigger down payment and some stuff, but we got it done, and so now they're all in the same office and kind of running.
Okay.
They complement each other well. So.
Yeah. And Saros Industrial is
Saros is a deal that is kind of going with where we're going at Bentley Welding, but it was a guy that had an opportunity. He had the work, the relationships, just didn't have the means to kind of get a business off the ground. So he was looking for like investors /
partner,
to kind of help with the back office, the stuff he didn't know.
Sure.
He knew the work, and he roughly had like a $2 or $3 million PO. Verbally awarded to him if he could get the deal done. So
there's a lot of handshakes and kind of relationship-driven business out there.
I would rather do business that way.
Yeah.
Right, and not so much because I want the business done that way, because I want to sit across from a person that I know that I can handshake with.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah.
I've had the opposite where they pulled out the fine details of Section 13
You're like,
on
I
the
didn't even
contract.
read that contract. You
they
bitch.
did.
Right. They
They
wrote it that way so that they could
purpose,
get you if they needed to. One of my kind of prouder element. I don't know if prouder is a right word, but I have a chief of staff here with Loco. That's kind of my keep me out of trouble kind of person and whatever. But she was like, well, you got to have your contracts updated with your facilitators and these things and this and that. And I was like, well, but it's really kind of a handshake kind of business. If they don't want to be here, I don't really think they should stay, and all that. And I shared with her how my dad has a roughly 10,000 acre farm that he started when I was first grader. Yeah. Like he came from no money kind of thing too. And he owns a good chunk of it, and then he's got maybe 8 landlords, and only one of his landlords, who is probably Bill Gates, does he have paperwork. Yeah. The other 7 are all handshake deals. Yeah. And always have been,
That's how everything used to work,
Right, right. That, I don't know.
I think there's some statistic that 75% of the world's lawyers are in the United States, and 95% of all lawsuits in the world are in the United States. Yeah. And it's just, I'd rather not,
Fair enough. Yeah. And what does this Saros Industrial do?
Saros, they specialize in like rigging and material handling. So
it's like tipping up the thing,
lifting equipment, and setting equipment, and labor. So, but they're focused just in data centers. They're doing a lot of work up in Cheyenne at that data center up there. And it's been going good. They've we think we got 8 guys over there working, and they're on track to do
some more meetings and whatever else.
Yeah, they've got some relationships established where they just kind of bounce from project to project. And it's going good. So
all these companies are kind of in that space of doing things that are hard for people that have money
Yeah.
that needed to get done
Yeah,
and get done right.
for sure. So Ceros, they what they do is they go set like the servers at a data center and stay in front of the electricians, so the electricians can just weld, and so they're a cheaper labor than
Got it.
than the
Interesting.
run the forklifts, and then they have some critical lifts and stuff, and it'll transition into like more lifting
Yeah.
type work. But for now, that's keeping us
Interesting.
busy. So yeah.
Let's go back to Bentley Welding a little
Yeah.
bit, because that's your, how many folks you got there?
Currently like 80ish.
Okay, so it's a little over half of your total employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that kind of evolution like? In the beginning, you kind of got this one big project that carried you through, and then jumped up to a big crew right away.
Yeah. It's been just about like any stock market chart you could see. It's just pretty rocky
With the industry.
Yeah. So 2014 was 7 months in business. We did $3 million that year.
Okay.
And then we popped clear up to 6 million, and then the crash of 15 hit, and then we went clear back to 3.5 million.
Okay.
And,
Well, that wasn't.
and
I mean, it
yeah,
dropped, but not as much as some did.
But by then, I'd had a couple buildings rented, and I was, the overhead had started creeping in. So you start losing 50% of your revenue. It changes, and then
Right.
actually,
And did you have to act on that, like layoff rounds and stuff? Obviously.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever had to lay anybody off. I had 30-ish guys then, and laid almost half of 12 of them off or something.
Okay.
So that was eye opening to have to go through that for the first time. So that's my least favorite part of business. Having to look another man in the face and tell him I can't figure it out. I don't know how to keep you busy.
Right.
So there's times when you get to fire someone that you're excited about. There's some that you have to fire that you're not excited about. But layoffs are just never fun.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
like you're waving the white flag. You're giving up to a degree, and you kind of
and I mean, ultimately, you're the steward, and sometimes the business just isn't there, and maybe this person will have a business to come back and work for again down the road if you keep it alive.
Yeah, for sure. So then 17 happened with the boom and Trump, and actually the house blowing up in Firestone was one of the big catalysts for 17, just because the state changed a bunch of regulations, and it just generated a ton of work.
Oh.
And so basically all the oil companies here had to do a bunch of work to get their stuff up to the new regulations.
New code kind of thing.
And it just generated a ton of work. So there was a big explosion. So from 16 to 17, we went from like 3 million, 3.5 to 11 million.
Whoa.
Tripled in 1 year.
Yeah.
And then we did like 16 and 18, 60 million in 18. And then in 19, we did right at 20 million. And by then I'd got a little big for my britches and started a trucking company too. We moved drilling rigs. Blitzkrieg Trucking is what it was. Wordplay kind of, like an NFL blitz, right?
Yeah. We're moving fast.
Yeah, exactly.
If you pay us enough.
Right. And so I named it Blitzkrieg. I didn't want to just call it Blitz, but so we kind of went that way, and then that just was not ever a good business. The market's changed, and I kind of missed the boat on that. It used to, just the way that the industry's changed.
You're behind it.
Pad wells, and so there's not as much work, and rigs don't move as often, and the competition is oversaturated, and prices fell out, and I lost like basically every penny I made in 19 with BWI. I plugged it into Blitz to keep it going.
Wow.
And cover losses over there, and so I had like a break-even year overall.
Yeah.
Even though Blitz did $5 million in work, we lost probably $1 million that year.
Damn. And then 2020 happens.
Yeah, and then COVID hit, and then I decided to open a branch in Vernal again. I've been trying to get back to Vernal for a while.
Okay.
And then all that hit at the same time, and I had to close Blitz up. I made the executive decision. I did the math, and I had my payables and my receivables and my loans and stuff, and I made a deal with Ritchie Brothers, and they bought all my trucks, and I had to cash in a bunch of my personal investments. And actually I had to take equipment from BWI that had paid off, just give it to Ritchie Brothers to fill that gap between what I owed, and I was like, it's all right.
Yeah, so you were like, on paper, you were like a $5 or $10 million net worth guy a couple years before, and then you went down to not much.
Not much, yeah.
Interesting.
And so I was like, it's all right. We'll get going. We'll shut it down. The welding company was doing close to $2 million a month back then.
Oh, damn.
In gross revenue, good margins, and I was like, it's all right. We'll shut that down. Just go back to what we're good at. Well, so I sold all the equipment on February, and then COVID hits, right?
Right.
And so let's say like March of 24 or of 2020, I still did $2 million. that month, and then April hit, and they just stopped everything.
It
And
was like 400,000.
I did 300,000. I lost 85% of my revenue in 1 month. Right after I just cashed in basically every paid off piece of equity I had to just get out of that debt. And, luckily the PPP loans, they did their thing for me. And that was
Kept you alive
the
there.
reason, between that.
And how long was that? Because I remember it was a little while, and then we realized that you still got to move stuff around. You still got to pump oil, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what was the turn when the price started creeping back up.
Yeah, probably by September they started kicking projects back on, and everything had kind of settled down. So from April to September was pretty scary.
Pretty light, yeah.
Summer was, it's a weird feeling to just not have anything to do. I got a business.
You must have shrunk again on Bentley Welding.
Yeah,
right?
so the PPP kept everybody in place for a while, and then probably July we ended up shrinking clear back probably to 40-ish people.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
we had 100 before that. We had 100 in Bentley Welding, 30 in the trucking company, and then we went clear back down to probably 40 guys.
Wow, from like 130 or so total down to 40.
Yeah, so and
that's some big math to come to those, and big relationships. And
yep. And then spring of 21, I started through the divorce process.
Oh boy,
right. So,
do you want to talk about that now or later?
It's up to you, man.
It's a lot easier to stay in love with somebody when finances aren't super tight. I've obviously seen that in my own life, and as I escaped being
it's a good Band-Aid.
a $90,000 a year banker and got into a $12,000 a year food truck business and whatever local think tank was back 14 years ago, mine's so far at least. Thanks, Jill. A success story where she kind of bound to me tighter, as we marched through and she got a way better job.
Yeah. And I don't think that mine
wasn't the finances so much.
I'm sure it has an effect. I don't want to me and her are in a good place now. It was rough, but we just grew apart, and then we just wasn't paying attention. Hindsight's 20/20, right? I can go back and I can.
And you were probably paying so much attention to these businesses that were all struggling.
I definitely didn't validate her feelings. There's times where I'm just like, you stay at home. I'm just, I'm going to work, dude. And that's not how it works. But when you're 35, you know everything.
Well, and I know I'm never harder on myself than when things aren't going well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm a worthless son of a gun. Why would my woman even want me?
Drinking a lot. I was out of shape.
Fair.
Go back and look at all that. And so she ended up having an affair, and we tried to work it out for a little while. Just it didn't work out, and so we split up officially in July of 21. So then I had a year of divorce, and then COVID, a year of divorce. And
she was like, I should have cashed out 3 years earlier when dude
if
had money.
If she would have left me at 19, I'd be bankrupt for sure. Yeah, that's another one of those.
Funny.
It's funny now. There's a saying that I like. It says, crisis plus time equals comedy. So, anything's funny after long enough. But they, if she left me at 19 with those books, I'd literally be bankrupt.
Right.
I would have had to file bankruptcy during 2020. I wouldn't have been, we just skated through just barely
by the skin of your teeth.
Anyways, if I would have had that debt on top of that, I would have been,
super interesting.
So that's one of those divine things where it's just like, man, the timing, terrible for her, but she wouldn't have got any money anyways. It would have, you're right.
For sure.
So it worked out. She's taking
So
care
how
of
about is that at the end of your marriage, did you decide I need to be a professional board member at volunteer boards?
That was the same year I got on the D6 board. What I was like, it was that same fall. It was 21. I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do for 7 days without my kids. I was trying to just stay busy and fight off depression, and so I was like, well, maybe I'll run for city council. And so I had some friends in Greeley, and they kind of referred me to talk to this guy. He knows about the politics, and Tom Norton, he used to be the mayor there, and he runs a political fundraising organization now. And he's like, no, the school board needs conservative guys or conservative people, and your ward isn't up.
It's a lot easier.
It's dip your toes in the water of politics. 2 meetings a month. That's all. And I was like, oh, that'd be all right. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 things a week, and
right.
It's so much.
It's really a 5-hour week job.
It's a part-time job, but it's very rewarding. So that's exactly what got me going there. I was like, I got to stay busy. I don't have any friends. Basically, my friends were my wife's friends, right? And I didn't,
they all took her side.
I lost those in the divorce, So yeah, I just was trying to stretch my social wings and
Okay.
got into that, and I'm very thankful and happy I did. It's been very rewarding, and I even tell those people, I just got reelected this last fall for my second term, but
Oh, cool.
I got more out of that than I can ever repay.
Well,
School
and you
board.
probably learned a ton too.
Just learn it done socially and and mentally and emotionally, like just having like good people to be around and like a reason to stay, kind of headed in the
kinda
right
focused
right.
and
Yeah, like
whatever.
because they record them and they're on YouTube, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be out. I just lost 50 pounds. I don't want to be out of shape and have to be on YouTube and enshrined on forever,
Yeah.
So I stayed, out of the bars as much as relatively possible, and then
You
just
hadn't quit drinking at
not
that
then,
time yet.
no. I quit 24. January 7th of 24 was kind of,
Okay.
that was like just woke up one morning. I'm like, dude, I don't like this. I'm
Yeah,
good.
fair enough.
I'd flirted with it a little bit where I'd do like 6 months or do the 75 hard.
Yeah.
And finally I just woke up one morning. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I didn't at that time I hadn't planned on like never drinking again. And it just morphed into like,
Yeah. Why?
yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah. So,
The Greeley Family House. So I
Yeah.
want to hear about that a little bit.
yeah. So that one was just more, I got in Rotary.
Oh,
And
good.
they came
a fellow Rotarian
Are ya?
Breakfast Club
Yeah,
here in
yeah,
Fort Collins.
Yeah, so I got into that, and she did a presentation. The executive director did, and they needed members, and I was like, yeah, got time, so I looked into that, and then
Any special connection to
not really
homelessness prevention?
No,
Or
I mean we
anything
got
like that?
homeless guys, family people, not guys, but there's homeless around my shops, and I've never really had any issues with them. Once in a while, we'll get something stolen, but it's usually not them. It's somebody in a pickup truck that knows we're an easy target, right?
Right. What's useful and
They
valuable.
camp out and stuff, but I've never had any issues or any real ties to it. It's just more just what
Look, how can you help?
I have time
kind
and
of thing.
the ability and the means. So
Yeah, dig it. And then the tech school.
yeah. So that
Tell me about Vernal. Like, Can we
yeah.
can we talk about that
for
a
sure?
little bit?
Yeah, that's
Today's
where I was
Vernal?
born and raised.
Yeah. It's
I went
far
to-
north Utah, right?
Northeast. So it's just it's in
Northeast.
the corner of like Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Flaming Gorge is like the biggest
Yeah.
geographical place. A lot of people know
Yep.
that for the fly fishing and stuff, but it's kind of small. I think the city's probably 10,000. The area is probably 30,000 in the county. They've got one high school now that's
Okay.
it's 5A. It's roughly close to Colorado sizing, so it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And then just for only having one, but yeah, I was just born and raised there, and just kind of worked my way up, and then end up just having to come here, just out of necessity.
So what are you doing now? Like outside of 4 president and CEO and 3 board positions, like, are you dating? Are you on the market here?
I guess, yeah, you could say so. I just don't have. It's really hard with. I literally my boys' schedule is Tuesday. So Tuesday night, I take him to school Tuesday morning. Or the young one now, the older one's on his own, kind of in my basement, if you call that on your own.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a schedule, right, with the custody anymore. But
Fair.
the young one, I drop him off at school on Tuesdays, and then Tuesday nights I drive to Vernal, and then
Oh, so you spend a week in Vernal
and
almost.
the weeks when I don't have him, and then when
okay.
I come back that Tuesday to pick him up from school. So
So you need a Vernal girlfriend, really?
well, the problem
'Cause
is it's
that's
like 50-50 either way. It's hard to have a girlfriend in two
But
places.
you'll have your kids here,
Kids are in Greeley.
right?
One business is in Vernal, so I'm there and back, but I end up spending more time here for sure, just with all my commitments and
Sure.
stuff. But
Well, you got a lot more interests
Yeah.
here, a lot more employees, all that.
yeah, and the boards and everything. So the foundation board, the UB Tech is that's their Ames, right? Ames is probably the
Okay.
closest
Yep.
technical education, and it's in conjunction with the high school. So it's actually there's a road a walkway under the
Oh, cool.
highway, and it's been like that for
It's
a while.
like a VOTEC almost, traditional,
yeah.
but
And
the next
they
level
do like
too.
the welding program. I took welding classes in high school
Cool.
through these people.
Okay.
So I guess I'm technically an alum. I did an after school or an after work program one time too, but yeah, it's just they've really catered to what that area needs, whether it's oil field or truck drivers, or they're really good about putting back to directly working with the community
Dig it.
and now Coyote is a giant pipeline for them to place welders.
Oh, cool.
Right, because
Right. And
hire
you're
a lot
always
of-
hiring,
yeah,
probably.
pretty much almost always hiring. So
What's the jobs market like out there, and contrast it with Northern Colorado here?
I'd say it's similar,
Yeah.
just on a smaller scale. But there seems to be plenty of jobs right now, and
Pay rates are comparable to,
no,
or a little lower out there, I
cost,
assume.
like Utah's minimum wage is $7.15.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
Okay.
so cost of living's cheaper. It's creeping up just like everywhere, but I think most of my guys are still in the $20 an hour range, anyways. It's pretty comparable as far as like what I'm paying.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less, but
Yep. And then talk to me about the leadership structure of these businesses, especially Bentley Welding. Do
Yeah.
you have like
So-
proper CFO and stuff these days?
Yeah, I have a
And-
controller that kind of plays that part.
Okay. Yep.
Then I have a COO who I got really lucky and I hired a great guy last year. Kind of in
Cool.
the middle of a tragedy with a guy abruptly resigning on me, took a better job at my old COO.
Okay.
And I ended up like just miraculously making the right phone call at the right time, and he was available, and he's been a godsend. He's
Okay.
it's a big deal.
You can tell his name if you want
Joey
to.
Floyd.
Say hi.
Yeah.
What's up, Joey Floyd?
Yeah. What's up, Joey?
Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. He's transformed the business. I told you earlier we're kind of transitioning into the mission critical space.
Yeah.
That's him.
Okay.
For sure. He's leading that charge. That's his bread and
He's
butter in
just
his
taking it
background.
and running it.
Yeah. So, but then I have a CCO, Chief Customer Officer, Bo Ramsey. Basically, VP of sales or whatever you want to call it. We call him CCO.
Kind of
right? So
relationships.
it's not just sales. He's relationships and taking care of anything that customer wise, and is supposed to be their go-to guy to kind of just solve their problems.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, like you got 20 customers that you might take a phone call from at any time or whatever. Is that kind of not a huge customer base, but a lot of work from that number?
Yeah, we have traditionally we probably had 3 to 5 big customers, and then 20-ish, just
Total, kinda.
all together.
Yeah.
not counting
the
like
3 to
walk-ins
5
and
is
stuff,
at least half of the revenues,
Yeah.
but then you got
probably 80-20.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we used, like I said,
and are those big customers like big time, like BP and
Occidental
whatever?
and,
Yeah.
Chevrons and
Yeah.
Extraction or Civitases and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, but now we're transitioning into the mission critical market, and we're working with. We probably have 8 to 10 large accounts that are like fish on the hook, nibbling a little bit. We got two giant POs in order, and
Okay.
but yeah, so I have there's like kind of an exec team. There,
How's that
4 of us.
differentiation?
As far as
Like the mission critical versus like is it a different set of customers even?
yeah, there's a mix of different customers. It's basically anything data center oriented, kind of like that. So
Oh,
so
okay.
mission critical just is more high quality and on time delivery.
Right.
They don't deal a
It's
lot
more
with
of a brand than it is.
it's like, hey, we've got to be online like on this date, hell or high water. And guess what? You got a bunch of liquidated damages if you aren't, because we're missing our time. And so what the most of the time the appealing part for like a guy like me is they don't come and nickel dime you on every price. You're like,
Right.
hey, do you need to work some overtime? Do you need an expedite fee? Like, what can we do to get this job done on time? And
Interesting.
it's not a blank check, but it's also not like in the oil field when it goes down, it's just like, okay, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be on time.
Or you don't get
also,
paid.
we're taking the cheapest bidder. And it just
Right.
rush to the market to the bottom, and it sucks.
And so do they bid a lot of this work out, even if you've been their guy or whatever?
Yeah,
'Cause they're
definitely.
kind of-
they have budgets and stuff, so
Right.
it's all set. But it's just usually not like they're not open to 10. They make partnerships instead of instead of just vendors.
That's an interesting. I'm just kind of coming to I was thinking to myself, like, why doesn't Conoco and BP and stuff have like their own people that do what you do? But then they would have to be the ones that laid off a bunch of people when times are tough and whatnot. And
It keeps the accidents and the safety and the liability.
right,
It's
for
all
the same reason that Amazon has distribution contractors instead of.
It's all liability mitigation.
Yeah,
some lawyer somewhere told them this is the best way to go.
right.
So
what's the secrets to success in your industry, and who do you compete with? Especially, I'm thinking with BP.
Yeah. Well, so in the oil, like we're almost out of the oil and gas, but
Right.
Just
really?
Just because
The data centers is so much opportunity.
so much opportunity and better margins and
Right.
and just kind of the way that
Really?
stuff's
So you're
going.
like, I didn't realize it was that much. It was like
Yeah.
80/20.
So I've
stuff.
been like 97% oil and gas, and in 2020 I really started trying to branch out. It's been hard. I tried construction. We did a big geothermal plant last year, but it's always just still that's my history. That's where I'm comfortable. So
Sure.
like I talk that language well, and
Yeah, and you got a bunch of relationships there in
exactly.
history.
So, but this year, these last 3 to 6 months, we've really kind of cracked the
Okay.
code and got some good connections and some good customers that
Interesting.
and so we've been transitioning that way. And s- 2 or 3 jobs, but the dollars is the scale's tipping in the mission
Right.
critical area. So
Interesting.
we
Okay.
actually just filed a DBA and kind of transitioned into, we're calling it Bentley Mission Critical instead of Bentley Welding.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I just acquired a new building in Greeley, another
Okay.
46,000 square feet.
Oh, dang.
So between 3 buildings, I have 150,000 square feet of fabrication facility.
And what are you building in those spaces now? Because I was imagining pressure tanks and different things and
Yeah.
pipings and stuff
Yeah, so
before,
it's
but now it's
a lot of piping in the data centers. They have,
okay.
I don't know how familiar you are. So
Not really. No, give us.
so
Maybe people listening
yeah.
aren't either. So tell us about a data center.
I've been on a crash course learning all this in the last 6 months with Joey. But basically there's the servers and the computers, and then they've got to cool them because it generates
Sure.
heat, right, with the
Right,
electricity and stuff. So
Until we put them up in space.
yeah, even then. But that is colder. It's just colder up there. But they so they got to be cooled, and they cool it with liquid, and so there's a lot of piping running. It used to be air cooled most everything, but that's inefficient. And
Okay.
then, so now they're doing like
Yeah, a lot of quicker transfer from
so
liquid to
they're
metal.
liquid straight to the chip, right? And so they're getting a
interesting.
bunch of water. The fluid takes the heat off faster, and
Yeah.
but then it also generates air, so there's like a mixed, and then there's immersion cooling and stuff. But a lot of piping, a lot of structural steel, and just a lot, the thing
Just
that
a lot of quantity
quantity
of piping.
yeah, it's huge. So
Gotcha. Oh, damn.
it's crazy. The
So
demand.
you've got 100,000 plus square feet just dedicated to fabrication of
Yeah.
these systems.
Yeah,
Kinda.
yep, 100,000 here. So like our product line is like hot
Yeah,
aisle
here.
containments. We're doing prefabricated modular buildings. So basically like kind of like rebuilding a shipping container, but custom built for like, we'll build a bundle of 16 of them, and they'll bolt together and make one building that is a data center. Like
Wow.
we can basically prefabricate an entire data center in our building and ship it to site. And
Oh,
then
dang.
Go bolt it together. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty wild.
And is like, is this what Joey brought to the
Joe-
table
yeah,
partly?
This is Joey's background.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I met him. I did a it was a Bitcoin mining job for him. He was my customer, and that's how I met him originally back in 21. And then he moved on from that company, and I just had his number, and I was like, man,
Right.
Joey might know somebody. So I called him. It was a Tuesday when I was driving home. My old COO calls me up. He's like, hey, I tried to catch you before you leave, but he's like, man, I gotta give you my notice. I was like, Chad, what the hell, dude? Like,
Whoa.
I was like, the only reason I went and took this coyote deal's already going. I was like,
Right.
because I had you here running that.
Right.
And so I went like Tuesday night. I'm just going crazy. I called Joey.
This is Tuesday night after you drop your kids off.
Yeah, so I got a 6-hour drive to Utah, right? Just to
Right.
think about how bad this sucks. And I called him, and he's like, well, I might send me the details. I might know somebody. So I sent him the details. We texted a couple times. And me and him weren't close at all, just an acquaintance, basically, like that one job. And the next day, he texted me. He's like, yeah, I'm interested. I'm like, you're interested. And I like, dude, and he's here, right? And so
Right.
I was like, no
Right,
way.
right.
I was just hoping he had a reference or somebody he could
Right.
refer me. And he's like, yeah, I'm in between. I just finished a project, looking for something. And I was like, well, it's in Greeley. He lives in Phoenix. He's like, I know that's, And so we went through, and I told him all the bad things, trying to talk him out of it, kind of make sure, like, I didn't want to
Right.
it's like, I don't want to sugarcoat this because like you're getting my hopes up. So I told him this. Yep, no problem. Here's what I'll do to fix it. Here's what and I was like, so Tuesday night I went from not being able to sleep because I'm like, what in the hell am I going to do? To Wednesday night, I can't sleep because I'm so excited about what
Right,
Joey's
what all
going to
we
do.
could
Right?
do.
Yeah. So
That is
it was pretty wild flip flop. We're about to cross a year with Joey, and it's been. I mean, we're a totally different company, like literally and figuratively.
That's wild.
Yeah. And
like you've trusted him through that, obviously too, right?
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
is there a risk or a downside to these
yeah.
data center projects instead?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like if you get the wrong customer with the right liquidated damages, they could bankrupt your company.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's an element of trust there, but also sounds like relationships on his part.
Yeah, for sure. So he didn't. Most of these we've cultivated ourselves, so he kind of gave us the technical,
Yeah.
confidence to kind of go talk the talk, and
Yeah.
then, we bring him in and he can do
And
the
they're like,
design.
oh,
and
you've
stuff.
done all these. Well, that's one thing about. I've had a handful of oil field industry folks on the podcast over the years, and generally, they're many of them want to eventually just get out of concentration, at least in that industry, or
Yeah.
leave altogether.
Yeah.
And but then the rest of the world is easier after
Yeah.
you've been doing oil field stuff for a while. Then like real life. Was just a data center.
Yeah. That's and you don't want to say that to the data center people, right? Because like,
Oh, they might listen. I'm sorry.
but it's true though, because like
But some things about it are more straightforward.
the complexity is way less. Like the welding is actually easier. I can take Joey's got a training program in house where we could take like a kid working at McDonald's, and with 2 or 3 weeks we could have him to a point where he can work on a data center for us, welding,
Right.
and tested and going. So
Right.
yeah, the skill level required,
The risk level is lower. Some data chips overheat or something, but
Yeah.
it's not like people dying of a.
Yeah, exactly.
Oil well
Yeah.
explosion.
And that's down the road and not even really on me. The biggest risk for me is like not hitting the timelines and getting charged.
Right.
So the
Interesting.
people are kind of combating that with, there's just so much demand that there's checks and balances in place.
Yeah.
And they've been just very like, hey, you want to work? Come work. And I was like,
Right.
hell yeah, that's all I want to do. I
Yeah,
just want to
so
work.
your restricting factor right now is like how many people can you
capacity.
train and
Yeah. Just
bring on in
how
the
many
best new
square
way
foot I
kind
have
of thing.
and
Yep.
cash flow, just like normal and stuff
Right,
like
right.
that. So yeah, just trying to fund these big jobs.
Yeah, that payroll gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
that payroll now?
Bentley Welding runs about $250,000 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Coyote does about 80, and then Blue
Yeah.
Northern's. So I'm up with
So
probably
almost $500,000 almost, or 400,000,
every
something.
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot of
It's a lot of
lot of
mortgage
stress.
payments and
Yeah.
a lot of trips to Safeway for all those folks
a lot
and
of
stuff like
groceries.
that.
Yeah, a lot of contribution to the local economy. Yeah.
Do you have a vision for, like, you've had so much change the last even 18 months?
Yeah.
Do you have a vision for, like, other things you want to do? Is there opportunities in the market that you see that you could address?
Just right now, it's just growth. A
Okay.
lot of it's just capacity based and just
Yeah.
there's some solutions we're trying to solve.
Especially in the mission critical side,
Yeah.
there's probably going to be data centers blown up
Yeah.
for
For
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years roughly.
5
It's
years
kinda
at
whatever,
least.
Yeah, 5 to 10 years. And so there's like product solutions where like, the A and B from different places and you can combine them, or, it's a speed to market thing for the customers. So they're just always trying to compress their Gantt chart and their schedules, right? And so we're trying to stack things on top of it. And that's what the prefabrication does. It takes that construction from
Right.
on site. You can do it while you like, you can still,
Right, you can even build up an inventory of it as
Exactly,
you're
and
getting ready to launch.
they're doing their permitting and their dirt work, and their building's basically done built, and they're just waiting for the green light, and we ship it, and
Right.
it assembles real quick.
And
So
is that something others have been doing? is
Yeah, it's-
building
it's-
those.
yep,
That's
yep,
kind of
for sure.
becoming an industry standard
Yeah,
almost.
it's getting more and more popular.
It's kind of modular,
Yeah,
right?
it
It makes
is
a lot
modular,
more
yeah,
sense
yeah.
than we're gonna put the.
It works in some areas and some it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
makes
it
sense.
has its niche and its place, and there's just some places it won't work all the way. Or sometimes it's a hybrid model where we're prefabricating 75% of it and then going to site and doing the last 25 there, or someone else is
yeah.
or something. But there's a 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Are there like other folks like you, either in Colorado or around, that are kind of producing these kinds of things, or is that a pretty small marketplace right now?
There's people that are doing pieces. I would dare say that
You're one of the few that are actually
doing the full
doing
buildings,
nuts
yeah.
to bolts, kind of.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think there's one, I won't mention their name because I'm not a fan of them, but there's another one that we're kind of similarly. Their
You're
business
just better
model,
at everything.
their business model is different. They outsource everything. So yeah, I'm not. That you're just a logistics coordinator,
Right.
And so I don't really want to just play in spreadsheets and stuff. I actually like building things. So.
Well, and having relationships with people that you
Yeah.
pay to do a good job and stuff like that.
And I'm just a welder at heart anyway, so I jive with those people. I don't get, like I can't sit in a room full of engineers and MBAs and be
Yeah.
comfortable, right? It's not that I'm uncomfortable. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm a tradesman. So
How do you spend your week? Like, what's a a week in the life when you're here? Let's say when you're in Greeley.
Man, I have a pretty structured routine. The days are different depending on the meetings that we have scheduled. But like,
Yeah.
my normal day, I get up at 3:45. I'm in the cold plunge at 4:15.
Okay.
Then I have to go get in the sauna to warm up a little bit, and then I lift from 5 to 6. I hang out with. I got some gym moms at my gym in Greeley, Workout West. They've adopted me. There's a group of 3 older ladies that I met there, and so
Okay.
I have to like go check in with them every morning, and
Dig
they
it.
check on what girls in my life and what I'm doing, and so they've like unofficially adopted me, so that they're legit gym moms, and then I'm home by 6:30 cooking the boys breakfast and taking them to school. The youngest one to school now. I lost my driver. He goes to work now instead of school, so
All right.
I'm back to running taxi. I actually rolled him in Eaton because they had a little bit better athletics for him. He's very talented that way.
Okay.
And so it's an hour trip back and forth by the time I get up there and sit in that silly line to drop people off. And then
Yeah.
it's just on to the meetings as needed.
Yeah.
It's whether it's school board stuff. Like today I went.
Key relationships, I imagine, with
Yeah,
customers
we
and
had
stuff.
I had a whole smorgasbord today. I had an executive meeting today where I met with those 4 guys I talked about, and we talked about just kind of we do that weekly. And lunch, we had a presentation with a customer, a potential customer. We're working on a partnership with. They provide one of those things I was telling you, like a solution here. They're like, hey, we got a need here, but we don't have the capacity nor the expertise. Let's team up, and so we're working on a collaboration with them to kind of offer a more complete package in a certain area of the data center world. Not so much our prefabricated modular stuff, but more of the traditional type data centers on the hyperscale side. And then at 2, I went and met with a potential board member for the Greeley Family House to interview her. She's expressed we need board members if anybody's interested. So,
Okay. Love
and
it.
then drove an hour up here, and then I'm gonna have to go back. I still would like to catch one more workout. I'm kind of trying to trim up. I got a cruise on
Yeah,
Monday,
you're
right?
looking-
Yeah, I've lost
you're looking pretty
15
buff.
pounds since January 1. I got my diet in check.
Okay.
But yeah.
Dig it. What are you pushing up these days on the bench press?
Oh man, I shoulders
Not a
give me
big
some
max
fits,
guy.
but 315 is my max I've ever got.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Not
solid.
today. Yeah,
That's solid.
not today.
Fair.
Hi, this is Clint Jasperson, Managing Partner at Purpose Driven Wealth. We believe financial clarity leads to a life of contentment and purpose. Our mission is to guide clients through the complexities of wealth management, retirement planning, and legacy using a values-driven, stewardship-based approach focused on provision, contentment, and enjoyment. With more than a century of expertise through Thrivent, we offer tailored strategies to help individuals and families achieve their goals and embrace generosity. Whether you're navigating a life or business transition or planning for the future, we're here to partner with you every step of the way. To learn more about Purpose Driven Wealth, call 970-330-7411.
And we're back.
I'm back.
We're back. While I'm here thinking about it, I want to say thanks to Seed and Spirit Distilling for providing my spirit engagement for the evening. This is did you like mezcal when you were drinking?
I was a bourbon whiskey guy
Okay,
for sure. So
they have a high rye whiskey out
Oh,
here
do
too
they?
that they
Yeah.
provide for us, and this is a basically a mixture of kind of young whiskey plus mezcal. They get an agave kind of spirit thing, and so it's got a kind of the smoke of a mezcal with the heat of a young whiskey,
Nice.
and so far people really like it.
Good.
I'm becoming a fan.
there's a lot of good brewers up here for sure.
Oh, these guys like grow their own corn and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like super hyper local.
Organic.
Also hyper local is the Crazy Ginger hot sauce, which you have agreed to sample.
Yeah.
As we lead in, so I'm going to just give us a little drizzle on some of these chips, and we can have a sample as appropriate.
Yeah.
I'll slide it over to you. I've had another hot sauce that ran out, but I wanted something a little more punchy for my guests. And soon you'll be able to get this at Matador Mexican Grill, and perhaps in the future.
Yeah, that's good.
other-
That ginger's fun in there.
Good.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. So it's all meant to change your. What's that? The attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
I used to do that I used to work at the bank kitty corner from Matador,
Yeah.
and my Wednesday habit, at least once a month, but sometimes two more.
Yeah.
They had the smothered burrito smothered chicken burrito for whatever, $5.99 or
Yeah.
something at the time. And I would get the ghost sauce on the inside and smother it with the hot green chili.
Nice.
And drink 3 cups of lemonade or something and just be freezing because I
Yeah.
drank so much cold drinks because I was so hot.
Yeah.
And then, just be cold and sweaty headed back to the bank on this summer day.
Yeah.
It just changes your spirit for the rest of the afternoon.
For sure.
So what we'll do now, actually, before we get into little Kyle and Vernal, I want to talk about, we've got a new segment sponsor that I should mention, Purpose Driven Wealth. And in Windsor, existing member Clint Jasperson and his team do financial planning and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a Purpose Driven segment.
Nice.
So I've got a list of questions here that I like to choose from.
Okay.
And I'm going to shoot with right at the top of the pile. How would you say your beliefs and values show up in the way that you run your businesses, in your case, or the culture of the team?
Yeah. Man, so full disclosure, I'm LDS. Obviously
Okay.
I'm from Vernal,
All right, so
Utah,
you're
right?
a
I'm a Mormon, right?
All right. But you were a hard drinking Mormon, so you were very good at it for a while.
I took a 20-year break.
Okay.
Yeah, so it correlates pretty accurately with my marriage. But
She was not.
she was not. Yeah. So
I see.
But one of the questions they ask when you're going through your temple recommend, if you're looking for, is are you honest in your business dealings? It's literally a question they ask,
Cool.
and it's just like, man, I just always have had this kind of, some would call it an indoctrination. I would call it a guiding compass, a moral compass. But
Yeah.
one of the things that LDS people say when in the younger ages is there was WWJD, right? What would Jesus do?
For sure.
And it's just always rang really true. It's like a lot of times you come to these crossroads in a business deal or a personal deal or any deal,
Right.
and it's just like, what's the most right thing to do here?
Yeah.
Trying to just do the right thing all the time. So I would say that's probably the
And your
biggest
team
way.
would know that about you. Do you
think so.
communicate that out there? Or how
I try to, yeah. I try to be good stewards of our relationships,
Yeah.
when we can, and
Yeah.
I think most people would agree.
Cool.
So
I dig that.
yeah.
Does your whole crew and stuff, do you wear your faith on your sleeve, or as you've come back to faith, has that been an interesting transition, or maybe among your leadership team?
I have Bo's LDS. He's also from Utah.
Okay.
And I'm vocal about being thankful and credit due, and
Yeah.
and we pray before meals and
Cool.
stuff at work and stuff or meetings. So
Yeah.
try to be. I probably could do a lot better in that aspect, but
Well, that's actually
it's a work in progress.
not the same, but Loco Think Tank, the earliest sprout of what became Loco was I became a Christian kind of late, in my late 20s, and soon joined something called Bible Study Fellowship, where they just study the Bible. There's
Yeah,
no
like Wednesday
outside
nights,
commentary.
yeah.
Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then a couple of years in, they asked me if I'd become a discussion leader. I was like, well, I don't really know anything about the Bible. I just got here.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, we'll teach you the art of facilitation, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to know the answers to find the truth.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
ask them
kind of at the
questions,
core of what we do in our local think tank
For sure.
chapters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's cool.
that notion of
Yeah.
kind of discerning what
For sure.
what the right thing is.
That's cool.
I'm going to hit you with another one because that was fun. Can you make or can you describe a business decision that didn't make sense on paper and the outcome?
Which one?
I don't know. Well, the trucking company, I'm guessing, did make sense on paper, at least when you started it. It just,
It wasn't on paper. It was a problem. It was in my head, right? So yeah.
yes,
Yeah, so that one.
not even the napkin treatment in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I did the math and stuff in my head, and was going off of like old numbers, and like, yeah, if we did this much and this and that, and kind of justified it to myself. But there was definitely a time where I hired a CFO back then in 19, and that was the first thing. And so this is June of 19, and he's like, I don't like BTI. He's like, just full disclosure, I don't like it. It's your company, do what you want.
Oh,
But
right.
He's seeing the numbers and reading them deeper, and so
Right,
then
right.
I was like, no, if I can figure it out.
We're on the edge. We'll be
Yeah.
making money in no time.
Yeah, and I was like, just got to do a little more revenue, and then we do more revenue and have more losses.
More
right?
money still.
So that one, I forced it all of 2019, and then what happened was the deciding factor one day was I finally, like, this is probably December. My guys in Utah went to go rent a piece of equipment, and the truck drivers where it was common ownership, the bank had tied our credit cards all basically at the same credit. Like, right, we had
Limit,
$200,000, right? But
the
it was
max of all
said,
of
said,
them.
you know,
Right.
different, yeah. So they hit that limit in 2 weeks, and it shut them off. And he had to go call a customer, and he was mad. And so my guy in Utah actually quit over it. And I was like, "F this! Like, I'm not going to let bad money ruin my good." You know, we was doing good things with that, and that was like finally it took me from June to hiring the CFO, who I hired to tell me these things, and I just don't listen, right? And it's on paper then, and he's telling me, "Hey, you know, I don't like it, And so then I come home and from him quitting and trying to wrap up all those problems in Utah, and I was like, "All right, shut it down." And he's like, "Well, let's think about this." I was like, "You've literally been telling me for 6 months, like, no."
Yeah.
And then I make a decision, and so, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good job eventually.
Yeah, I'm a slow learner.
Enough lumps, everybody learns.
Yeah.
So I guess can I go back to your faith conversation just a little bit?
Yeah, buddy.
So did you step away from LDS, but also any kind of
Yeah,
faith engagement during, and it was both your early years of marriage, but also
Yeah,
the early years of raising kids and stuff?
Yeah, so I was born and raised LDS, and then I went to probably 15. My dad kind of quit forcing me to go, right? He kind of
Yeah.
got to an age where he's like, it's
Yeah.
your life, you know. And I'm kind of there with my boys, like, you know, they need to hold up to their commitments, but also I get to like let them
Still make your own choices even when they're
so
dumb.
he kind of let me fall away from the church, you know, or do it at my pace, I guess, which was zero, right? And then, you know, I got my girlfriend pregnant when I was 18 or 19,
Okay.
and had my
And she wasn't from a faith background?
no, she had a zero faith background, so
Okay.
we just didn't really participate, and it just kind of fell away from it. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
And what was that like coming back?
So I was here, and LDS is definitely isn't near as predominant, right? Like
Sure.
Greeley's 125,000 people with Evans, and there's 2 church houses. Vernal's 10,000 people, and there's probably 20 church houses,
dang.
right? So that
Yeah.
it's just not as predominant. So I really
We've
went
got
on.
at least, I would say we've got like 5 or 6 members at Loco.
Yeah, oh,
So
really?
like 5 to 10%, I would say,
yeah.
or
And
LDS.
the church or the temples here.
Good
in
business
Fort
people.
Collins. Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and plus they don't drink too much
Yeah,
or anything.
exactly.
They keep a better eye on their numbers. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I kind of went through like a journey where my therapist is actually kind of religion based, and she was like,
Yeah.
you know, you know, in my opinion, it's your life, but you're trying to fill a God-sized hole with something that's not God, and it's not going to work until you put him back in it. So I kind of went on like this mini spiritual journey where I bounced around from some like non-denominational Christian churches.
Yeah, I wondered. Yeah, that was my next question. Did you
Yeah.
investigate other things too?
Yeah, I went to
But-
2 or 3 in
Yeah, yeah.
Greeley with different girlfriends or different people or different this and that, and
right.
man, just none of them felt
Wasn't familiar. Wasn't,
I mean, I don't know
right.
if it's familiar. Just like it didn't feel right. Like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, like if he, you know, if you believe he's the creator of the world and life and everything, that's a pretty big title, and that's pretty,
Yeah.
you know, it just requires a different level of reverence, I guess, you know. And so I go
Yeah.
to like my first time at one of the churches in Greeley, it was opening weekend of the football season, and literally they had a tailgate party afterwards, but some of the guys showed up with face paint to church, and I was like, face paint in church? Like, that's, I
Yeah.
mean, come as you are, right? Like, I don't, but also you could have put the face paint on after the services, you know?
Right.
So I don't know. It just feels more, you know, and I don't, if you ever heard that, Joe Rogan, I think said it, but he's like, you know, religion's a funny thing because, you know, if you have it and we die and there's nothing, it's like no harm, no foul. You lived a good life.
Right.
But he's like, if we die and you didn't have religion and you didn't live your life like there was a God and there is a God, you're gonna really wish you would have lived your life like there was.
That
you know?
was I basically told my father-in-law that way back in the day because I grew up in a church in North Dakota, but not really.
Yeah.
And so I never heard the good news. You know, I didn't really know anything about
Yeah.
that story, but I did want to be a better person.
Yeah.
You know, and so I studied philosophy and different things for a while
Yeah.
before I, you know, met my wife and her family. That kind of
Yeah.
led me to that. But also, like, our pastor's more like the kind of pastor that would be like, yeah, we don't have any of the Jesus is my boyfriend music here. You know, we take this seriously.
Yeah.
And in my own, like, I'm a kind of and you're kind of an instinctual too, where you kind of color outside the lines, or I do what I want. And so I had a shift of like obedience isn't something that's easy for me to
Yeah.
listen to, but Surrender
Yeah.
is basically the same thing,
Yeah.
but is appropriate because it's a much higher power
Yeah.
that you're surrendering to.
Yeah, the faith side of that comes in heavy, especially in business and stuff. When you hit one of those rough patches, and it's a lot easier to live life when you believe that God's plan's perfect, and
For
you know,
sure.
there's a path, and
For
you know,
sure.
so-
Well, and like I think about, and this is maybe a voodoo topic, but like the COVID thing, that's just whatever
Yeah.
6 years ago now,
Yeah.
right? But like people with faith in their lives were so much less terrified through that whole time, even though in some ways they were some of the most persecuted.
Yeah.
Close the churches but keep the weed stores open,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And like they suffered far less.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I think that's probably true in all crisis situations. People,
Yeah.
your faith kind of
Have a rock to hold on
exactly,
to or whatever.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
for sure.
You ready to jump in the time machine now?
Yeah, buddy.
Do you want another chip, or you're
I'm
happy
all right for
there?
me. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's good though.
So we're in the. Was it 10,000 people when you were growing up? in Vernal
Probably
too?
7. Yeah,
Okay.
probably 7.
So it's growing a little
Small,
bit.
yeah,
That's good.
for sure.
And what would it look like for you? Like you're one of many siblings.
Yeah, kind of it's not messy per se. It sounds messy when I say it, but I have 2 older sisters and 2 older siblings from different marriages on both sides. My mom had 2
Okay.
daughters. My dad had 2 sons, but I don't know them.
Is that normal in? No, not so much.
No, yeah, divorce is less common, but just it's getting basically the same. But
Right.
But then my parents got together and had me and my sister, and so
Okay.
my main
So
house.
there's 2 over here, 2 over there, but you didn't really have relations.
Nothing. Like literally
Interesting.
nothing. I don't even know where the sisters are. They actually got adopted by their stepmom, and then the brothers. I think one's in Alaska, and the other one I used to be friends on Facebook before I got off social media, but
Right.
I don't know them. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I got a
So
little
you and your sister.
Yeah, little sister.
was your
She's
family.
Yeah, it's me, my parents, and my parents are still together, and I lived.
Why were they there in Vernal?
My dad came for work, and my mom.
Like in the oil field, or
I think just it was like maybe construction event originally, but then it ended up being oil field, and then
okay.
And my mom, so they kind of both like converged from southern Utah, and then my mom was from Idaho, southern Idaho, and then they both end up in Vernal for some reason,
Okay.
and met there, and then
Okay.
just stayed forever. So,
Yeah.
But I kind of grew up in a purgatory of Utah, or Vernal. There was either like rich oil field kids, or there was farmers.
Right.
And I lived in a subdivision in town and was neither.
Right.
And so I was just kind of like, school wasn't fun for me. I didn't really, until my senior year in high school when I started contributing to the wrestling team.
Okay.
I started winning matches, right?
Right.
The rest of the time I was just losing. I think my sophomore year I was 7-30.
Right.
Right. And I took first at region that year.
I think my basketball team when I was playing went a total of like 7-45 or something like that.
So my senior year, I finally got competitive, and I was placing at tournaments and helping
Okay.
the team win, and we
Yeah.
had a good year. So I finally started fitting in my senior year, and then
But with your academics, wasn't really your thing too much.
it was easy. I
Okay.
would say I'm above average intelligence, but
Seems like it.
I just don't. I don't like the structure and the rat
Yeah.
race, right? And so I did enough to get by. My mom
Yeah.
wanted me to keep B's, and I could
Right.
not do my homework and pass my
I
tests.
always say
and
I
so-
could coast for B's.
Yeah.
If I had to work hard to get it, if I didn't have to work hard to get an A, I would
Yeah,
get an A.
exactly.
But if
Yeah.
I had to work hard to get an A, I'll just take the B.
So I'm good with the B. Like, who cares?
Right.
So I didn't have any aspirations to go to college. I had a half
Okay.
ride to wrestle, and I was doing graphic design in school, and so I got like a mix, academic, art, and athletic
Okay.
half ride to this school, and then the graphic design was going to make me $40,000 a year, and I was going to have to go $40,000 in debt, and I thought that was a terrible deal, so I jumped out and went in the oil field.
And where was that school?
It was called Dana. It's a Lutheran school in Nebraska. So
Okay.
I don't think they're around anymore. I think they went out of business. But yeah, they had a wrestling program. It was a NAIA or Division II.
Oh, and you were already out of the religion kind of stuff or
yeah,
whatever,
so
so you didn't care if it was a Lutheran school. They got a scholarship.
No, yeah,
I'll go
just,
there.
Pay my way.
And what did you think about that? Because that was your first time out of hometown, right?
I never went.
Oh, you never went at all?
No, I decided
Oh.
just not to go.
Oh,
Yep,
interesting.
Yep, I passed on the opportunity.
Okay.
My wrestling coach was pretty disappointed because he called in a favor, and
Yeah, he recruited you up and
yeah, and I
stuff.
just like no. But,
Huh.
Yeah, so I graduated May of 2004. Friday night, had our senior kegger and all that same stuff, and I'd had a job lined up with a welder, and I met him Monday morning at 2 a.m. at the local cafe, and we drove to Commerce City And I
Wow.
was in Suncor's refinery down here as a welder's helper.
Wow.
Monday morning, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Quite a change of pace. What was that like? Did you move to Denver, I guess?
no, we just traveled. So
No
we were
shit.
based out of Utah, and we just travel out here for the week. We'd stay in a hotel, go home on the weekends.
Oh,
and,
wow.
go to Salt Lake, work in refinery out there.
Right. Just go wherever they needed some welders
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
So it was pretty eye opening. I was 17. I didn't.
Did you make a lot of money? Was it
$13 an hour. I thought I was rich.
not much,
Yeah,
but
it was
yeah,
a ton back
felt
then.
like a lot.
Yeah, I went from cooking in high school at $7.25 to $13.
Right,
And so I
right.
thought I was in hog heaven.
Interesting.
And yeah, so I hired on with him. I called him because his wife, little sister, was a cheerleader, and that's how I got hooked. She's like, yeah, my brother's hiring, and so I called him. He's like, yeah, meet me at Betty's at 2 a.m. And so, if you ever been to Vernal, Betty's is the spot for
I'll go
breakfast.
there next time.
Yeah, it's just right on Main Street. It's
I
cute.
might have been there. I don't know.
It's
I
an
can't
old
remember.
Arctic
It's been
Circle
quite a few
building, but
years.
it's just quaint and it's cute. But that's where we met and drove 5-6 hours, and I was there, and I was in the refinery, and I was like, no way that I'm allowed to be here at 17. I know I got to be 18 for insurance reasons, and he never had me file any paperwork. I didn't even know how I got a paycheck.
Right. You don't remember giving him your social security number or anything.
Yeah. So, but did that for 6 months, and then I took a job. I got tired of traveling so much. I took a job there in Utah at that company that I came over here with, and I was there for 10 years. Before
And where'd you meet your now ex-wife?
through an acquaintance there. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of a wild story.
Because that changes things, right? Go
Yeah.
ahead if you want to tell it. I don't know. Your prerogative.
just dumb kid stuff, like country boy stuff. I'd gotten a fist fight one night, and they were from the next town over, right? So like Loveland, Greeley, right? 30
Right,
miles,
right.
right? Like our rivals. And
Yeah.
so the next night they brought his older brother and 20 guys over to
Teach you a lesson?
yeah, and
Because you won the first one, I guess?
yeah, and so I broke my hand, and my hand is like this big, and I just have like
In the first one?
yeah, for that first fight, yeah, the first. So every time I've ever been in a fist fight, I break my pinky bone.
Oh,
I
damn.
don't know.
Gotcha.
So I guess
Well,
it was like bad genetics, so bad. Like
how many times is that?
For 5 or 6.
Gosh, when I was about 20, I went home and my brother was having a keg party in my dad's shop with his permission.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is crazy. I never
That's
got
wild.
permission
Yeah.
to have a party in my dad's shop.
Yeah.
But it was a few years later, and there was always rumors of this guy that was, I guess you'd call it domestic violence on his girlfriend. But nobody ever could prove it or whatever. And then I came out to take a leak. Actually, I went out to smoke a joint. Or to get
Yeah,
high.
yeah.
You know, I didn't
Yeah.
have enough money for joint money. I just
Had a pipe. Yeah,
a little pipe or whatever. And I see this going down, and I confront them, and he's like, "You need to just get the fuck out of here." And I was like, "Well, no. You know."
Cool story.
And like he gave me like a warning shot, kind of clipped me a little bit. I was like, "Well, I'd rather have you punch me than
Her, yeah.
her." And then boom, just like right in the middle of my nose, and like the whole stars and
Eyes watered.
dropped me.
Yeah.
But I was up in like 1 second. Like I popped right back to my feet after being totally knocked out. But
Yeah.
that's the only time I've really been punched
Yeah.
proper. And I don't know if I've ever landed a clean one, if I'm honest.
Well, maybe one or two. It's hard to land a clean one in an actual
Right?
fight. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not, It's
yeah.
not like the movies.
No, there's a lot of grabbing and pulling and stuff. I've been in a couple of scraps, but never a real fight.
So I was at that new company.
Sorry, I interrupt your story and tell my own.
Working with the guy, and his wife or his girlfriend had a friend, and I'd asked like 2 or 3 times, like, "Hey, like hook me up with Taisha," and she's like, "Oh, she won't date younger guys," and I was like, "Whatever." So that night, they were like trying to trap me on the highway. I was going up to somewhere, I think another girl's house actually, to go hang out with her, and I call him. He's my only friend basically at the time. And I was like, he's like, "Man, I've been drinking. You're just gonna have to come over here." So I'm literally like going through parking lots and over curbs trying to
Right.
get away from these guys.
With like 2 cars, 4 cars chasing you and
5
stuff.
or 6 cars.
Damn.
So we get to his house, and he comes out of his apartment complex, and I get out, and there's just me and him, and then 12 guys lined up, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to kick his ass. He beat up my little brother last night." And he's like, "Well, all right, Kyle, you want to fight him?" And I was like, "Dude, my hand's broke." I'm like, "Not tonight, dude."
Right.
And he's like, "All right, guys, it's settled." And they're like, "No, we ain't leaving." And he's like, "No, you guys are going to leave." And this is my one friend. He commented on my LinkedIn post today, actually. He's
I hope he's got a gun.
no.
No.
This is the wildest story, dude. There's 12, I'm not kidding you, 12 dudes probably. And he's got a temper. And he's got one of those tempers where, like, you could see the fire in his eyes when it lights. And it like, he's just intense.
Okay.
And so, like, one of them, he's like, no, you guys need to go. His neighbors are coming out of the apartment complex, and
Sure.
like, Mike, do we need to call the cops? And he's like, dude, if I go to jail tonight, you guys, it'll be for a good reason. And one of them like mouthed off and like, what, drugs? There's, something stupid, just like kids something say. And he's, the fire in his eyes. And he like stepped up to the front one. He says, no, if I go to jail tonight, I'm kicking someone's fucking ass. It's going to be your ass or your ass. And he walks down the line and pokes them all in the chest.
Who wants it?
Yeah, somebody's getting their ass kicked if I'm going to jail tonight. And they all just went, okay, sir. And they like, literally left, dude. Yeah. So here I am, like, whoop pup, right? Just freaking nothing. And so I just go inside. And I wasn't hanging out with them that night. And I go inside and there's Taisha. She's on a date with his other friend. And I was like, it just freaking kicked me on down, Just almost got beat up. I had to get saved. My hands swole up.
I couldn't even fight back.
And then freaking, I just go and like the girl I've been asked to go on a date with was on a date with another guy. And then he ended up leaving. And then me and her went home together later. And we were like inseparable. Yeah. We never like.
Well, it wasn't too many months later when she was pregnant, I guess.
Yeah, that was probably summer of 04. No, summer of 05. And then she got pregnant in January of 06, January of 06. So
I think you said when you were 18, so it had to have been almost.
Yeah, but I was 19, I guess, by then. So
okay,
yep.
Yeah. So that changed.
Yeah, and then you just grow up. You got a kid and a baby, and that's. I mean,
and you just did kind of oil industry stuff out there in Vernal area.
Yeah, so I was a welder's helper, right?
And wherever you go to.
Yeah, I was a welder's helper, and then I went there, and I just started as a general laborer. We call them roustabouts in the oil field, right? Yep. So I worked up from a roustabout.
You know Marshall Morningstar?
I do know Marshall, yeah.
Yeah, he was on my podcast like season 1.
Oh, really?
And how about one of my favorite people, Emily Kincaid? You know her too?
I don't know her.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
no.
she had a oil field services industry business moving fluids.
Oh, yeah.
But she died of brain cancer a couple years ago at like 38 and amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Anyway,
yeah, I know Marshall for sure.
Marshall's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe he's the guy you think is a real asshole that you talked about before. I don't know.
No, he's all right. He's competition, but no, he's good.
Okay, cool.
He's good people. I think he's in Tennessee now, though.
Is he?
I think he moved.
Okay,
yeah, but he's still got his business.
I saw him at a running race.
Oh, really?
A year ago or something like that. He was running a 10K or something like that. I don't know, but that's the last time I interacted with him.
It's too much cardio for me.
I digress. Yeah, you get those big biceps and stuff. You gotta
it's hard to.
lug those around. Anyway.
So I took a job as a laborer roustabout, just on a crew, and then within like 6 months I ended up getting promoted to a foreman. So I had my own crew, and I got a CDL, and then we had the baby, and man, pretty eye opening when your grocery bill doubles because of a baby, right? With diapers and wipes and formula and all the things, and so I was just kind of doing the oh shit, like how do I pay for all these bills and just trying to make as much money as I could, and welding or truck driving was like the next logical step. And I didn't like the truck drivers that we worked with, and the welders seemed to be more like what I wanted to be when I grew up, I guess, back then. I just still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Well, welding's a pretty special industry in its own way, because it's like one of the things we don't have enough of is like community unification points in the world almost. And welding can take two entirely different pieces of metal that have never met each other and make them partners for life.
Yeah, forever.
It's
actually a chemical reaction. It's
right,
fusion,
it's actually fusion.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the God's idea of marriage, frankly. Like you're supposed to be one, inseparable.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And that was just the next logical step. So I started practicing at lunch, and then I talked to that boss that owned Blue Northern, his name's Ron Horrocks. I talked to him and I was like, hey, I want to weld. And he's like, okay, well, you're going to have to go rig welding. And rig welding was like, you went out to a drilling rig and you climbed around in their mud pits or did whatever bullshit scab job they wanted you to do. And they'd call you at midnight and you'd work for 36 hours straight until you're done. And then you go, and it just,
oh, damn.
It wasn't the job I wanted.
No?
I wanted to be a pipe welder,
Right.
And so.
Sorry, that just sounds like a miserable job.
Miserable, it was. And so he's like, you got to pay your dues. I was like, all right, I'll do whatever you want. But I said, just so you know, I'm going to pass a pipe test soon. And, pipe tests in the oil field are pretty hard. That's not just
and
anything.
Can you talk to me about, like, I've welded a tiny bit and stuff, you got a little pull it up good and stuff. But, like, what's it take to actually be good at it and make pressures hold and whatnot?
You got to know the process and your unit machine, and then just a lot of it is it's borderline an art. You have to have
That's
a
what I
hand for
wondered.
it, right? Like, it's not
Yeah.
like you can't, I mean, you can teach people how to weld, but then at the same time to like, there's levels to it, and then some people have their hand and some don't.
Yeah, just
And
kind of
so-
recognizing what's going
Yeah,
on
yeah.
in the chemical process
Yeah,
that's going on
yeah,
down there. And
yeah, it's pretty wild.
Okay.
So I told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to pass a pipe test. I want to, I'll do whatever you want. And he's like, all right. So I told him that, and I've been practicing. He told me to go to a night school at the tech college. So so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd go to Roosevelt, which is the next town over. That's where that branch was that did that pipe class. And I'd do 4 hours twice a week for 12 weeks. And then, I was like, hey, I'm getting pretty good, dude. I'm probably going to pass the test. And
Right.
So, dude, he calls my bluff and says, hey, testing on Monday morning. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. He said, you said you're ready. I said, I'm going to pass one soon. And so I practiced all weekend, and I showed up, and I hadn't been welding. I had to borrow a truck from him, his company truck. And I went to it and passed my first test. And then he was setting me up a truck, and then I had to go back to just being a roustabout for 3 months while waiting for my truck. I'm a certified welder who could make $35 an hour.
Right.
But I don't have a truck. He hadn't got it set up, and so then I had to go back, and so it's like
come on, what's his name again?
Ron.
Ron.
Yeah,
Come on,
so,
Ron.
so they were building it and stuff, but nobody was in a hurry except me. And
And you got a baby.
yeah, and so I'm making $16 an hour while I could be making 30, 35, and just going crazy. And but finally I got in there, and I think my first full paycheck at Welding Wages was $10,000. We worked a lot.
Wow.
We had a lot of opportunity for overtime
Damn.
back then. So we worked.
Yeah, that's like a
bunch.
quarterly paycheck for a young guy in
Yeah.
a lot of worlds.
Yeah. So just
Talk to me
progressed.
about your kids, if you would.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I got 2 boys.
Two boys?
I got really great kids. I've
Okay.
been so lucky with those 2 for sure. Titan's my oldest. He'll be 20 in
Titan. That's
Titan.
quite a
Yeah,
name.
Titan.
Oh, with a Y.
with
It
a
kind
Y.
of takes the pressure off a little bit.
His mom's Taisha with a Y. So
Okay,
yeah,
dig it.
she wanted the Y. But he'll be 20 this fall. And then Charger is 15.
And he's working for you.
He's working for me. He's welding for me, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Following his dad's footsteps.
kind of, yeah, just more just because he needed a boot in the ass and a job, right? And so
Right.
now he's kind of realizing where, what I think he likes it and he enjoys it, and he's seeing a path forward. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll go into management or not or anything. I'm not the kind of person that would just hand him a company.
Right.
I'd rather help him start something else. Go off and find your own way.
Yeah.
So
But who knows?
Yeah.
Like you can give him a
Yeah.
testing grounds
Yeah, I
a
could
little
be
bit to see what he's made of.
Yeah, and then Charger's 15. So Titan's like my mini me. He's a little bit smaller, looks a lot like me, acts like me, talks like me. He's got a lot of my insecurities and stuff that I had. So I see myself in Titan. And then Charger is 6'1", 250 pounds.
Oh, damn.
Right, and huge. I'm
Thick.
but he looks like me, and he's outgoing like his mom, and he's just
Gotcha.
a totally different beast for me
Yeah,
to
yeah.
handle than Titan. So Titan was
Interesting.
pretty easy because it was like me, like, whoa, what do I need? What that's what Titan needs, and Charger's just totally he's
The
stubborn.
puzzle comparatively.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot better once. Like now the Titan's off on his own, and me and Charger just kind of get some time together.
Yeah.
It works better, and it's cool.
That was not to overshare, but part of my own journey was I grew up. I was Kurt the Squirt.
Yeah.
I was 5'1" until
shoot.
end of 10th year,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and then I grew a foot before I went to college.
That's wild.
So I went to college at 6'1", 134 pounds, with a mullet.
Yeah.
And then I kind of thickened up, got tall, and I was always pretty smart and stuff. And
Yeah.
and part of my faith thing was like I felt kind of guilty for having all these blessings
Yeah.
of privilege and opportunity when a lot of people are just dumb or
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah.
I'm
Both,
not,
or
thank
both.
God, you know.
Yeah.
Well, kind of ugly,
Yeah.
but not as ugly as some.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Right? Yeah. My wife likes me.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
But that's an interesting thing to be blessed with, physical prowess at whatever size
Yeah,
and stuff.
for
It's
sure.
just, I don't know. It probably, I would suspect that this board service of yours has been some of the most formational because in your past career, you were pretty much around older or younger, strong dudes
Yeah.
that do stuff.
For sure.
And now all of a sudden you've got
Oh man,
a mix of people, females, and academics and intellectuals and
political differences. Like just I went
Totally.
from like oil field guys,
right.
and a lot of it you just do alone. Like,
Totally.
like especially when you're welding. Like I just put on my hood and I'm kind of thinking to myself, and
Right.
the only thing I can see is look the reflection.
You're
of
not
my
talking
light.
about the ICE protests
No.
or what.
So I get into like the school board, and our board is very diverse politically and have demographically everything. So you end up having like a discussion about views that you don't agree with, and just learning the ropes there. And it's been very beneficial. I've grown a lot in the last 5 years post divorce.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. That's an interesting. I remember a time when I was, I don't know, maybe 35 or something, when I thought the smartest person in the room pretty much had all the right answers, and everybody should just do what they said.
Yeah.
But that's like, authoritarian kind of stuff. Really, smart rooms that can work together to discover things
For sure.
really are super beneficial.
For sure. Yeah.
What's our time check? I'm going to do that real quick. We got. Would you like a silly question?
Yeah, I'll take whatever.
We got. So this is our grab bags. Why don't you grab 3 of these, and they could be either business savvy or they might be silly.
Number 9.
Number 9. What's the strangest way you've ever injured yourself?
One time I was butchering an elk with my father-in-law and my ex-wife, back when we were married. Big hunt. We do a lot of hunting and fishing and stuff. So
Cool.
he was really good at butchering them. So we would rather do it ourselves if we could. Just kind of control the process.
Right.
We were butchering this elk, and I got the rib cage laid on a sheet in the kitchen, right, like full-fledged country. And
You can throw it in there if you want to.
So he having me cut neck meat off for hamburger, and he's doing the important like muscle separation and stuff. I don't even know what the hell that is. I'm still not very good at that, but
Yeah, taking out the loins.
yeah,
and
and everything.
Else,
So I'm just cutting neck meat off for hamburger, and the rib cage is on the ground. He's got all the quarters off, and it's on this white sheet. He bleaches them, and we put it there just to lay it down to clean up the mess. And I went to go he's like, hey, pull this out from underneath the table so you can kind of get out from underneath the table. And I'm pulling on the sheet, and I got my fillet knife in my hand, and I look up, and he's standing on it. He's telling me to pull it, but I was like, hey, lift your heel. And right as I tug, he lifts his heel like in one fell swoop, and I freaking dig that fillet knife in
right
my
through
calf.
your calf.
4 inches into my calf.
Ouch!
I don't know
Damn.
if you ever cut your calf, but it's miserable. You can't do nothing.
My dog, I had a border collie pit bull mixed dog.
Yeah.
And she was awesome, and she was also a little bit dog aggressive. And the neighboring campsite had a chow chow, and my
They're
dog got in
aggressive
a
also, yeah.
fight with his chow chow, defending me kind of or whatever. And I was able to grab his chow, and he could have grabbed my dog. She was right there, and then but then she took the opportunity to like chew the shit out of his dog because I'm holding him, and he's like, "Dude, you got to let go of my dog. She's gonna kill him." And so I let go of his dog, and the chow turns around and bites
you?
me,
Oh, shit.
like both canines all the way into my calf.
Wow.
And yeah, that
It's miserable.
sucked.
Miserable.
It took too much. That's probably why I became a runner 10 years later, and my right calf is
Hurts probably. Yeah.
well, I broke my leg here, and I've always blamed it on breaking my leg when I was
Yeah.
18. But really, I bet that chow chow bite was more contributing to why my calf was a failure point.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah. So anyway, well, nice job.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got a bunch of injuries.
stab- that's almost like through, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I could see how far it went because it cleaned.
Right, clean all the
knife
deer
off.
blood
Yeah,
off.
it
Yeah.
was wild.
Hopefully, they didn't have chronic wasting it.
Yeah, no, so far.
Crazy.
It would explain a couple.
How many
things.
injuries do you think you've had?
Oh, a bunch. I was my mom's like $1 million child. I've been life flighted twice,
Oh,
stitches, broken arms, hands, surgery, ruptured
Okay.
spleen.
I can compete in that
Yeah,
category.
yeah.
What other numbers you got?
I got 21.
21 is what's your deathbed meal? Like they're gonna kill you tomorrow. What do you want for dinner?
Dang.
Not that you would ever do anything that was meriting of that.
Yeah.
But even just being too good a guy might get you killed at some point in the future.
Yeah.
We don't know. This dystopian nightmare.
They.
And you don't have to worry about your diet.
yeah.
You could get fat if you
Yes.
want to. They're going to kill you in the
Kill me in
morning.
the morning. I'd probably do some sort of pasta. I've gotten to
Yeah.
really like pastas as I got older.
Interesting.
lasagna.
Like some sort, like a proper Italian, like a.
Yeah, make my own. Like
Do you put like little tiny vegetables in it and stuff?
So I learned a couple at that restaurant I cooked in high school. I kind of recreate, and everybody's a real big fan. But it's like a spicy chorizo bell pepper pasta with a cream base, and it's use chorizo and red and green bell peppers and onions, and then
Dig that.
it's some sriracha.
My wife and I don't have any kids, but we host exchange students, and our Italian girl from last fall, like I forget the sacrosita or something. It's like when you take the same our Holy Trinity, carrots, celery, and onion, but they dice it super small, and then they cook it down with the burger until it's like cooked away to nothing almost, and that's a proper. Like not marinara, but whatever they make, like a lasagna sauce, a bolognese, or whatever they call that. And it's really just, there's so much vegetable cooked down into that
That's cool.
meat sauce.
I'll have to look
So
into
anyway,
that.
I digress.
Yeah. And then number 11.
11. If you could time travel, would you visit the past or the future? Where and when?
I mean, if we're going permanently, I'm like a turn of the century, carry a revolver on my hip type guy. Like,
Wild West,
yeah,
kind
I'd like
Marshall Dillon
something
stuff.
without power. I
Nobody's actually powerful.
think, no, like electricity, pre-electricity.
Oh, okay,
right?
gotcha.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think it'd solve a lot of our problems, but it'd also wipe out a lot of people right now. But it just, I'd probably go 1900, turn of the century, and just stay.
Right. Yeah. Can I stay permanently?
Yeah, just there.
That's what I tell people. If the world gets so weird that like Tesla robots are just like doing all the hard work and cleaning my house and cutting my hair, and I just get a check from the government to live. Like I'm gonna go homestead in Alaska.
Yeah.
Someplace where there ain't no power, ain't no roads, there ain't no nothing.
I don't want no part of that life.
Right.
Yeah, I could see the value, but it's like it's not how life's supposed to be. I
don't know what I'd think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that purpose would come in heavy right then.
Well, in our, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs stuff, right? Like you need shelter, you need community, you need hope.
Yeah.
A warm place to lay your head, food.
For sure.
Well, if that's all provided for us, then what the hell are we useful for?
Yeah, you can go deep there. That's probably the majority of all the problems we have are just some fabrication.
Lack of
purpose,
lack of hard things to confront.
Yeah, I think Andy Frisella, I don't know if you follow him, but he's a Hard 75 guy.
Andy what?
Frisella.
Oh, so yeah, I know it's 75 hard. I've got a number of members that have done that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what kicked my on to like the no drinking and the fitness post divorce. But he's that's the basis of it. We're too spoiled. He's like we all have $1,500 cell phones and we're complaining about what? About what?
Right.
No American almost has
100%.
We're pretty spoiled.
I don't disagree. I'm ready for the loco experience if you are.
Sure.
That's the craziest experience that you're willing to describe to our listeners. And it has to be more crazy than this fillet knife stabbing. And still allow your employees to want to stay working for you.
Try to think. Try to think. I mean, there's some Lyle stories. Lyle's my drunk alter ego.
Lyle?
But I met
like instead of Kyle, it's Lyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
He stayed out of jail. I've never been arrested, so I got pretty lucky.
That's
there.
pretty good.
Craziest story. Man, I feel boring when you say it like that.
Well, I mean, maybe it was that one where those guys chased you down, and if they'd have caught you before you got there, you'd have been...
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Man, I think a lot of it, like if you put it on like what other people would think is crazy, is just like a lot of my business decisions. Like that trucking company I started, I had been like 3 or 4 times before that I'd had $1 million in cash, and one time I bought more trucks for BWI and invested it right back in, and then this time I wired it to a guy who was selling his trucking company basically, and so I wired him $1 million, and then he owner financed me the other $1 million. And that's kind of how I started.
That's how that.
And everybody just like, dude, you are you an idiot? And I was like, yeah, maybe, but yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I literally I finished a project. We had a
so that was quite a company. You didn't just de novo this trucking company. You bought something.
I bought like 25 trucks from him and had 5 already, and I think we ended up with like 30 trucks, semis.
So you were all in.
Yeah.
You put the chips in. Yeah. And took a beating.
Yeah, probably to the tune of about $5 million overall. Yeah.
That's a crazy experience.
Yeah. So that was. that was crazy that way, you know.
But it's good to eat a little humble pie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
It was
thought I had
probably
the Midas touch, and
right. It was probably some of the most important time that you
For sure.
went through.
For sure. Growth happens when you go through hard things. So
And don't do it again.
no, yeah, you kind of that's my theory of life. Philosophy is literally we're just compiling a list of what not to do, and after you get 40-ish, hopefully you've learned enough that life kind of gets better because you stop doing so much stupid shit.
Part of my commercial for Loco Think Tank in general is, it's nice to learn from experience. It's very useful. I succeed or I learn kind of mentality is important for an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But it's also really nice to learn from other people's mistakes.
For sure.
And
we could all do a better job of that. For
yeah,
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And history's mistakes and all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything you'd want to share with people listening about anything really, like anything from Greeley Family House to
I would just say, just in general, on the political front, whether red, blue, purple, your nonprofits are struggling right now, all of them. The federal funding, whether you agree with it or you don't, it's not really. I don't get into any of that, but
right, they shouldn't have got so hooked on it in the first place.
Exactly, but they
now that they did,
there are a lot of groups
do.
out there doing a lot of good things, and they're really struggling. So those of you that can, check into them, check on them, donate if you can, and just see what you can do. Just being a board member is a huge help. Network, your network is your net worth, right? And that's true everywhere. So those nonprofits are really screaming for some help and really needing some. There'll be a lot of good organizations that shut down just because of some of those cuts that they're doing they are with a chainsaw, not a scalpel. So some good's going along with a lot of the bad. So, I mean, I think overall just be a good person. That's if I had to tell anybody that I get to talk to is just hopefully I encourage them to be a better person overall. So that pretty all encompassing. There's a lot of ways to do that.
You felt well with our motto around here, which is ask of your needs and share of your abundance.
Yeah, exactly.
And I appreciate you doing that and sharing your time with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Godspeed.
Yep. Thanks.
Until next time.
All right.
This episode is sponsored by Loco Think Tank. Loco Think Tank provides peer collaboration for business owners. We build smart, safe places to help business leaders navigate every stage of the business journey, and we love what we do and who we do it with. Our model features give-back-minded business veterans in the role of Loco facilitators, and we're always looking for abundance-minded individuals to add to our membership, facilitator team, Loco community, or to feature on this podcast. Listeners of this podcast who go on to become members of Loco Think Tank get their 6th month of membership for free. Just mention the Loco Experience podcast on your application. To learn more, visit our website at locothinktank.com. That's LOCO thinktank.com.